ball. Bryce Love, one of their electric running backs, is not going to be playing in this game. That means McCaffrey's going to have an increased workload. Gus, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him touch the ball 40 times tonight.
All right, Kansas State won the toss, deferred. Stanford to receive. There's Christian McCaffrey. He broke Barry Sanders' NCAA record for most all-purpose yards in a single season by over 600 yards with 3,864. And he's ready to return. Ian Patterson will send it away, and we're underway. Line drive kick. Fielded on the bounce at the 10-yard line by McCaffrey. And McCaffrey gets to the 25, breaks the tackle, still on the move, crosses the 35-yard line up to the 37, a 28-yard return. So a couple of things you want to know as this one gets going.
The identity of the Stanford Cardinal has been so strong since David Shaw has become the head coach. 3 out of 4 Pac-12 titles. They need to maintain that. Intellectual brutality is what they call it. And for Kansas State, they've got levels on their defense, quality talent on every level. It's so important in their defensive structure. Defensive line, Jordan Willis, Elijah Lee, the linebacker, and as Shannon pointed out, Dante Barnett in the back end as a safety.
So first down and 10 at the 36 for Ryan Burns, the new quarterback at Stanford. McCaffrey right next to him. And they'll give it to him running over the right side. McCaffrey crosses the 40 up to the 41. Moore with the tackle. So, new quarterback, Kevin Hogan, gone, 5th-round pick of the Kansas City Chiefs. Ryan Burns from Leesburg, Virginia. 6'5", 218. Named the Stanford starter 9 days ago over Keller Christ, who was last year's number 2 behind Hogan. Second down and 4 at the 42. They line up McCaffrey as a receiver at the top of your screen. Empty backfield for Burns. He'll throw it. Far side, caught. And it's McCaffrey. He'll pick up the first down as he gets to midfield. Elijah Lee with the tackle. What do you think of this kid, Ryan Burns?
Well, I love what he did there on his first pass attempt. That showed me a lot of moxie, as if he's very calm. Listen, my first start in college football, I was about ready to throw up all over my shoes, but he very quickly moves in the pocket, finds his best player, throws an accurate ball to Christian McCaffrey, and moves the chains. So far, so good for Ryan Burns.
First down and 10 at midfield. Opening drive for Stanford. Here's the pitch. McCaffrey taking his time, and he's chopped down on the right side. Dante Burnett, the senior from Tulsa, coming up and making the tackle.
This is what they were missing a year ago as an enforcer in the secondary. So many injuries. One of those injuries was Dante Barnett. From all the way at depth, meaning back all the way on the 3rd level, he finds himself in the backfield making a tackle for loss on one of the most explosive players in the country. This guy is a difference maker, a 3-time team captain for Kansas State.
Second down and long. Cardinal need 15 at the 45. Marks and McCaffrey line up in the I formation. Owusu is the motion man. He'll line up as the wingback. They give it to McCaffrey. Looking, bounces it outside, tries to tiptoe up the sideline, and he'll cross into Kansas State territory. Kendall Adams there to push him out of bounds. But you're talking about Kansas State and all those injuries. Nevertheless, they finished with 6 wins and made a bowl game for the 6th straight year, losing to Arkansas 45-23 in the Liberty Bowl.
And 6 wins in 3 of their losses. They were within a score or had the lead against 10-win teams in the 4th quarter.
Third down and 6 at the 46. Burns may have to let this one fly out of the shotgun now. Daniel Marks lines up next to him. Here's Burns to throw. Steps into it and delivers. First down, Cardinal. That's Trin Irwin, the sophomore from Valencia, California. Nice hands as he gains 9.
As a play caller, you can help out a young quarterback by giving him some of the most simple reads that you can possibly give him, like a curl route. And that's what David Shaw does for Ryan Burns on his first 3rd down pass attempt of his college career. An easy curl route to the best route runner that Stanford has, and it's an easy completion.
First down and 10 at the 37, opening drive for Stanford. McCaffrey, the deep man, out of the eye. Here's McCaffrey. They run the reverse. Rector, he's got blinding speed. Bottled up and slammed down. Great job. Will Geary, the junior from Topeka, Kansas, comes up and makes the tackle. Geary and Outlet Trophy watch list in preseason all Big 12.
This is the bad part about giving a speedster the ball as a runner, is a lot of times they don't have the patience. Watch right here. Rector should set up the block at this point, allow contact to happen, and then cut off of that contact. He runs right into the defender. That's at times what a wide receiver will do when running the football.
Only a 1 yard gain. 2nd down and 9 at the 36. McCaffrey straight ahead. Bottled up and taken down inside the 35. Geary, first man to him. And Geary, a very interesting player, former walk-on, started 12 games as a sophomore and had 45 tackles.
He's all Big 12 team in that year. But now another 3rd down. David Shaw went with a simple pass play on the last 3rd down, a curl route to Trent Irwin.
McCaffrey, a receiver at the top of your screen. 3rd and 7 to the 34. He's really been working on running routes. Christian McCaffrey, and they say he's excellent. He led the team in receiving a year ago. Burns, pump fake. Steps up in the pocket. He's in trouble. Looking for the first down and won't get it. Dragged down from behind at the 31 by Elijah Lee.
That's great defense by Kansas State. They want to pump that screen out, try to fake it to Christian McCaffrey, but the safety right there doesn't bite on it. He keeps his depth, stays with the wide receiver running down the field, and Burns has to eat it and just dive for as many positive yards as he can.
So Conrad Ukropina, the place kicker, came on the field. Now he'll leave McCaffrey back on, and Stanford may go for it on 4th and 4. Bill Snyder will turn 77 years old in October. 25th year at Kansas State. College Football Hall of Famer.
Gus, there's some confusion down here. The down marker still says 3rd down. They made an announcement. Not sure what's going on, but it seems like it's 3rd down and 2 right here. 3rd and 2 for Stanford.
Both teams confused. So 3rd and 2 it is. And Burns handing this off to Scarlett around the corner, and he is tackled for a loss. Dante Barnett, nicely done.
What happened is there was an illegal substitution on the previous 3rd down, and so that's where the flag came out. They replayed the down there at 3rd and 2, and then Barnett makes another great play. We saw him come up, make a tackle for loss on Christian McCaffrey. He stopped that screen pass and was deep, and now a tackle for loss again.
So Conrad Ukropina in to attempt a 49-yarder. He was the man that hit the game-winning 45-yard field goal as time expired that beat Notre Dame last year, 38-36, right here. Ukropina from Pasadena. And it's good. 50 yards officially for Conrad Ukropina. And the Cardinal are on the board.
It's the 50-yard field goal on his first possession.
Paid it off for him. Kansas State ready to receive. Dominique Heath, Byron Pringle, number 9, back deep. Keep your eye on Pringle. They feel that he can be the next Tyler Lockett. And Pringle will bring it out of the end zone. Gets to the 10. And Pringle will be taken down as he gets close to the 20-yard line. So a couple of things you need to know when Kansas State has the football.
Well, we're going to start right there with number 9, Byron Pringle. High expectations for this junior college transfer from Butler Community College. He's bigger than Tyler Lockett at 6'2", but everybody is talking about his ability on the outside. They need it desperately because the wide receiver position was not quite up to par a year ago. And then on the defense, Solomon Thomas has to bring this defense back to what they were a couple of years ago, that fear the tree type of defense. They must improve. Too many big plays a year ago. The secondary did not get their hands on enough footballs. They've got to get more turnovers. It starts with Solomon Thomas up front. He's one of the great players in this country.
Kansas State has elected to re-kick and not tack it on to the end of the dead ball spot. We'll re-kick.
Not sure what the penalty was. Looks like it was offside on the kicking team. So they want to give Byron Pringle and Dominique Heath an opportunity. David Shaw, what a career he's had. 44 years old, in his 6th year, 3 Pac-12 titles, 3 Pac-12 Coach of the Year awards, 3 Rose Bowls with 2 wins. There's Heath. Jake Bailey will kick it away. He's their starting punter as well.
They talked about those first 6 quarters from a year ago all offseason and getting off to a better start. They get a score there on their opening series, but now this is the chance for the Stanford defense to right what they feel like was a subpar year on defense. And David Shaw talked to us at length about that, but now going to have to kick it to the very electric junior college transfer Byron Pringle.
So here we go, line drive, and this one goes out of bounds for touchback. So coming onto the field, Jesse Ertz, the junior from Burlington, Iowa. And here's a young man that suffered a season-ending ACL tear on the first play from scrimmage.
Kicking team. 5-yard penalty, dead ball spot, first down. Correction, Kansas State will elect a re-kick again.
So Bill Snyder is going to make the Cardinal get it right, Joel.
Why wouldn't you? You got a dangerous return man. Bill Snyder very high on Byron Pringle, and this kickoff team for Stanford having a bit of problems here. 2 offsides in a row.
And how do you line up offside, Joel, on the kickoff? What's happening?
It's just the start. You know, sometimes you're so amped up as a player, and those guys are trying to get that running start, and they just take off a hair too soon. Here's a look, possibly at the bottom. Yeah, and definitely across the 30-yard line before the kick on 2 different spots. So this kickoff team has got to get their act together. They keep moving themselves back and giving a chance for Pringle to set Kansas State up with great field position.
So now Stanford kicking off from their own 25-yard line. Pringle and Heath move up to the 10. This one drilled deep. Pringle will get a shot as he brings it out of the end zone. Gets to the 15. And finally up to the 26 before being wrestled down.
So all of that for 1 yard, because they would have got it at the 25. So they get 1 extra yard, and finally we're going to see Jesse Ertz come on the field, and he's probably thinking to himself, get me out there. As you were saying, partner, injured on the first series last year of the first game. Tears up his knee, but he gets himself back, rehabs, wins the quarterback competition, and is voted a captain, has the respect of his teammates. But I cannot imagine the nerves running through Jesse Ertz's body as he gets ready to receive this snap.
First down and 10 of the 26. Charles Jones in the backfield. They'll give it to Jones on first down. Not a lot of room as he gets to the line of scrimmage. Harrison Phillips with the tackle. But I tell you what, Ertz, a heck of a player coming out of the state of Iowa. He was the state of Iowa's player of the year in 2012. Redshirted at Kansas State in 13. Saw action in 4 games in 14.
Also pretty fast. Gus won a state championship in the 4x100 in 2012, but we'll see how that knee injury from last year affects him.
Second down and 10 at the 26. Stanford showing blitz. Here they come. Ertz, first throw, almost picked off. Intended for Pringle, but Reed stepped in.
I think that Justin Reed, number 8, he's the safety, right side of your screen. I think the sun gets in his eyes because it looks like he wasn't able to locate the football because he's right there. And you see how he's trying to bat it down? He didn't see the ball. If he sees the ball and the sun's not in his eyes, that's probably ends up in the other end zone for 6 for the Cardinal.
Third down and 10 to the 26. Ertz to throw it. And now with a huge lane, and he's got speed. Ertz to the 40, and he gets out of bounds at the 45. A first down for Stanford, a 19-yard gain.
That'll calm your nerves down. Jesse Ertz is looking to the left side. He wants to make a read on that side of the field, but as he does that, the entire defense for Stanford flows over to their right, leaves the entire right side of the field vacated. Ertz takes advantage for an easy conversion, moves the chains. Some positive yardage here for Kansas State.
So first down at the 45. K-State trying to shake off some early jitters. And they'll hand it off to Jones. Nothing doing. Running over that right side. He stood up and taken down. Solomon Thomas with first contact.
You know, this offense is so young, and really that's epitomized by their offensive line. They're breaking in several new starters. The only returning guy, 71, Dalton Reiser, has moved from center out to right tackle. So they've got to figure out their rotation in there. This is a program that has prided itself on running the football and being physical, and they've got to find 5 guys that can match that identity up front.
All right, trips to the top of your screen. Pringle, Zuber, and Heath. 2nd and 8 at the 47. Ertz wants to run it. Ertz in trouble. Breaks contain. And he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. Chased out of bounds by a swarming Stanford defense. Okereke leading the charge.
We've already seen the Stanford team start applying more pressure. Last year up front, they really were only 3 deep for their 3 defensive linemen. Now they've got a rotation of 6 that they believe in, and it's for these types of situations. Long yardage, obvious passing down situations. They need to get to the quarterback more frequently than they did a year ago.
They're going to consider that a sack. Loss of 1, 3rd and 9 at the 46. And a timeout called by Kansas State.
First charge timeout, Kansas State.
It's the final days of the Ford Freedom Sales Event, and the deals just got better. Just announced 0% financing plus $500 Labor Day cash across the entire 2016 Ford lineup.
Here in the first quarter, Stanford with a 3-0 lead. Big 3rd down now coming up for Kansas State. They need 9 yards. Ball at the 46. They need to go to the Stanford 45. Jesse Ertz, the junior quarterback from Burlington, Iowa. He's shown an ability to get downfield with his legs. Here's Ertz to throw it. Up the sideline, he's got a receiver. And incomplete. Byron Pringle, the intended receiver. That ball broken up at the last moment. Terrific defense. Quentin Meeks gained ground while the ball was in the air.
Pringle did an excellent job of getting space late, right? Just a little bit of a shove, nothing that's going to draw a flag, and tries to get the space, but Meeks gets back into the play, gets a hand up into the catching zone, and bats it away.
Christian McCaffrey stands at his own 10. Nick Walsh, who's on the Ray Guy Award watch list for the 2nd straight year, will punt it from the 32. And he drives this one. McCaffrey fields it inside the 5. McCaffrey stays on his feet. McCaffrey flag on the play at the 20, brings it inside. He's got breakaway speed. Christian McCaffrey down the sideline. We've got our first MAC attack. 96 yards if it stands.
During the return of the punt, the legal block in the back. Receiving team, number 21. Penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. First down.
That's Curtis Robinson with the block in the back. There it is right there.
Just barely, just with his hands. But, I mean, I know this is coming back, but did you just see Christian McCaffrey on that play? My goodness.
And we've got 3.5 quarters to see more of them. Back right after this.
Well, we've already seen some fireworks for Christian McCaffrey, but unfortunately it was a little premature. This kid, 3,864 all-purpose yards, NCAA single-season record-breaking Barry Sanders, and I said give it to him again right here.
First down at the 2-yard line for Stanford. Owusu in motion. McCaffrey straight ahead. Trying to get a little bit of room, but he runs right into Elijah Lee.
Elijah Lee comes in with 9.5 career sacks. Honorable mention, All Big 12 his freshman year in 2014. Second team All Big 12 a year ago. He's on the Bednarik list, Nagurski list, Butkus list. This guy understands how to play the game. Led the team with 80 tackles a year ago. He's one of those players that has to have a big season for Kansas State this year.
Second down and 8 at the 4 for Stanford. McCaffrey again, picking his way through the hole across the 5. With Geary will bring him down.
Boy, this would just be huge for Kansas State to force the punt. The goal of a series like this, these are the games within a game, Gus. You're backed up inside your 5-yard line as an offense. The entire goal of the possession is to get a couple first downs to change the field position. This would be a huge win if Dante Barnett and his defense can get off the field and force a punt because of where they would be setting up their offense on this field.
The Cardinal converted third downs at a 50% clip a season ago, 6th best in FBS. Third down and 5 at the 7. Burns to throw it. And it's a first down and even more as they get the football to the 20-yard line. And a nice catch by Greg DeBuada, the backup tight end.
6'5". He's this prototypical Stanford tight end, the mismatches that they've got going on. But even on 3rd and 5, because of the threat that is Christian McCaffrey, they can still use play-action pass. They put the fake on that left side of the defense. Greg DeBuada gets himself free, and Ryan Burns with another third down completion.
Burns off to a good start, perfect so far. 3 of 3 for 29 yards. First down and 10 of the 19. Stanford with some breathing room. Burns steps up in the pocket, wants to run it, and a crawl forward, getting to the 24 as Sir Michael Moore makes the tackle. I think he may have the coolest name in all of college football.
Say it again.
Sir Michael.
So good. Sir Michael Moore, 228 pounds, senior from Dallas, Texas. You know, he missed most of 2014 with an injury, but he did play 12 games last year, averaged 10.8 tackles per game in the last 4. So he's playing his best football at the end of the year. They were hoping that it was going to carry forward into this season as well.
2nd and 6 at the 23. McCaffrey the lone setback. Here's McCaffrey again, and he goes nowhere. He runs into a wall. Kendall Adams, Will Geary, both jumping on him.
This is exactly what is so maddening. Thank you, partner. I appreciate it.
Okay.
You're the wordsmith. About facing Kansas State's defense is the safeties are so active when they're trying to get into that run box, which we've seen on multiple occasions now, stopping Stanford near the line of scrimmage.
McCaffrey, the receiver, in the stack formation at the bottom of your screen. 3rd and 5. Burns looks that way. And it's caught at the 40-yard line. Michael Rector cradling the football, the 5th-year senior from Gig Harbor, Washington.
utilizing McCaffrey and the threat that is McCaffrey. They run him short, and the corner has to stay short. DJ Reed, he can't fall back into the lap of Rector, who's running a corner route, and that's just too far, too much space for Dante Barnett to cover. That's an easy completion for Ryan Burns, and that's what I love about what David Shaw's been doing. Easy routes for Burns to complete in big situations.
David Shaw saying he just wants Burns to deal the cards. First down and 10 at the 39. Burns 4 for 4, 44 yards. Cameron Scarlett in the backfield. And he'll give it to him. And he'll go nowhere. Elijah Lee again in hot pursuit.
Elijah Lee, 6'3", a long player. He's very fast, one of the better linebackers in the Big 12 at running sideline to sideline. And that's not the way that you're going to beat this Kansas State defense. Their defensive tackles are too good at eating up blocks, so the offensive line can't get themselves up to that second level to block the linebackers. At that point, they can just free flow or run free to wherever the ball carrier is at.
That's a loss of 4. Second and 14 at the 35. Wildcat formation. McCaffrey. He'll run it. Looking. And tackle from behind. Nicely done, Dante Barnett. I tell you what, this Kansas State defense well schooled for everything Stanford wants to do so far.
All the way from the right side, here comes Barnett. It's a design blitz from his safety position all the way near the line of scrimmage. And McCaffrey was just having to be too patient. Tom Hayes has done an excellent job as the defensive coordinator preparing this Kansas State defense, in particular getting their leader back, the captain, Dante Barnett.
Third down and 14 at the 35. Here's Tom Hayes in his 6th year at K-State. McCaffrey, 8 carries, 18 yards. Burns with time. Underneath and caught. Tabrata again finds a soft spot, and he has a football at the Kansas State 40-yard line. That's a 25-yard gain.
Big league throw from Ryan Burns. He is not open right there. That is as small a window as you're going to get in college football, and he threw an absolute dime over the middle. That's a layered pass. It means it's got to go over the linebacker Elijah Lee, but in front of the safety, number 21, Kendall Adams. That's as tough as it comes, and Ryan Burns executes it beautifully.
Perfect so far. 5 of 5 for 69 yards. And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Stanford with a 3-0 lead, but the Cardinal driving the football. Stanford Stadium here in Stanford, California, as the 8th-ranked Cardinal lead Kansas State 3-0. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Shannon Spake with you. Stanford had the second highest time of possession in FBS last year, and they controlled the first quarter, eating up almost 12 minutes. First down and 10 to the 40-yard line. Play fake. Burns dropping back deep, going for it all. He's got a Rector wide open. Touchdown, Cardinal. Michael Rector in the Rose Bowl win over Iowa. He had a 42 and a 31-yard touchdown.
You see number 22, Barnett, Dante Barnett. He comes on the blitz. They've been doing that all day long, and Rector runs right by the corner. They say he picked up some serious speed in the offseason, and he showed some off there for the touchdown.
So Ukropina comes on to attempt the extra point, and it's good. 40-yard touchdown for Rector. 10 plays covering 98 yards for the Cardinal. Eating up 6 minutes and 18 seconds. Michael Rector, the speedster from Burns, who's looked sensational to start.
Domino's it is.
No, I want salad.
Oh, no.
So we're gonna
10-0 lead. And here's a kid that ran the triple option in high school.
The old shotgun wing tee, snapped it to his hip. In fact, he had so much trouble with the snap from under center when he got here You know, his redshirt year, that's basically all he worked on. He's taking the snap from the center because he had never done that in high school.
Jake Bailey will send it away. Dominic Heath, Byron Pringle back. And Pringle will take a knee. Well, let's take one more look at the touchdown.
Well, Dante Barnett is the safety, and there's some confusion for Kansas State. And he's going to come up into the second level and actually come on a pressure. See, here he comes, and that leaves the corner one-on-one. So you've got Duke Shelley, number 8, one-on-one with one of the faster players in the Pac-12, Michael Rector, who was clocked at a 4.3. Some even say sub 4.3. He ran right by him for the touchdown.
So Kansas State with some work to do now. First down and 10 at their own 25 for Jesse Ertz. Here's Ertz handing it off on first down, and Kansas State with some running room as Dalvin Warmack will pick up 7 yards. Let's go downstairs to Shannon.
Hey, Gus, that Stanford touchdown certainly gave a little pep to this defense. You know, the defensive backs coach, he was talking to his guys, and he said, how is Ertz on his eyes? He was just coaching him up. He said he's very heavy on his eyes. Keep that in mind.
Second down and 3 at the 32. Warmack in motion out of the backfield. Ertz steps up in the pocket with running room. Ertz crosses at 35. Nice little wiggle outside, and he'll get even more yardage. A gain of 11 yards for Jesse Ertz. Remember, he won that state championship in Iowa in the 4x100.
I was curious to see how he was confidence-wise on that knee after tearing the MCL in the first series of the first game a year ago. And Gus, every series that he's been out, and I know it's only now his 9th snap of the game, but it seems like he's getting more confidence and more confidence in the health of his knee.
3 carries, 29 yards for the junior quarterback. Justin Silman now checks in at running back for Kansas State, and they'll give it to him. And he'll get to the 45. A 2-yard gain.
It's a big drive for Kansas State. This is not an offense that's built to come from behind. So you can't allow a team to run and hide. And even at 10-0, this is not Baylor against Texas Tech. They're not going to go back and forth. So these series are very big in the middle of the game to make sure you're staying within 1 or 2 possessions.
Second down and 8 at the 45. Low snap handled by Ertz. That one deflected at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. Getting a hand on it, Harrison Phillips, the junior from Omaha, Nebraska.
They were very excited about Harrison Phillips. This is a guy, along with Solomon Thomas, who they're expecting big things from. And every time a defensive lineman doesn't get all the way to the quarterback, they're taught to get their hands up. That's exactly what he does. And he bats the ball out of the air, creates a nice 3rd down situation for his defense to get off the field.
Phillips was recruited by K-State and has a great relationship with Bill Snyder. 3rd down and 8 at the 45. Ertz over the middle, caught. First down, Kansas State. Nicely done, Isaiah Zuber on the crossing route. And Zuber picks up 12 yards on 3rd down and 8.
Zuber, a redshirt freshman from Stone Mountain, Georgia, and he's a guy that everyone's been buzzing about in fall camp. Even Bill Snyder, who doesn't generally compliment guys that have not played a lot of football for him, said this kid has had an excellent fall camp. Watch out for what he does in this game.
First down and 10 of the 43. And they hand it off to Silman. Tries to break it back. Not a lot of room. As Nord Davis, first man to him. And that completed pass, the play before last, by Jesse Ertz, was the first completion of his college career.
Well, he'll always remember that. There's no doubt. But it'll also calm him down. You know, you're always waiting for that as a quarterback in order to calm your nerves, calm your breathing down a little bit. There's no doubt that he has settled into this game.
2nd down and 7 at the 40. Play fake. Ertz rolls out of the pocket with room, taking his time, and Ertz tracked down from behind by Jordan Watkins, the 5th-year man from Decatur, Georgia. And that is a loss of 1 on the play. And there's the inexperience right there. He's got to get rid of that football.
He's got to throw that one away and maintain that 3rd and 5 rather than this 3rd and 8.
From the 41. Here's Ertz with time. Near side, caught, but not enough for a 1st down as Dominique Keith hauls it in, but he's wrestled to the ground by Hoffpower.
Zach Hoffpower, a senior, did not play football last year. Gus, he was in the minor leagues, playing in the Pioneer League, playing baseball. Now he's back, loving life, the character of this defense. But they're going to have to line up and play it again because Bill Snyder's going to keep his offense on the field, and he's going to go for it. Although at times they like to pooch kick in this situation. That's something they've always used throughout the years.
Let's see if Jesse Ertz will do it with the ball to the 35-yard line out of the shotgun. 4th down and 2.
A substitution infraction here on Kansas State.
There is no foul for illegal substitution. Kansas State called their timeout.
All right, while they take a timeout, we'll take a timeout. 10:21 to go. 10-0 Stanford.
This one's got detachable keys. It comes with a pen so you can ride as you please. This Mac doesn't have any of that. It's less useful, like a hat for your
Alto high. And David Shaw told us that regardless of how Burns starts the game, Christ would get an opportunity today.
And they said they had talked about the 3rd series, and that's where we would be at if Kansas State is unable to convert on this 4th down.
4th down and 2 for K-State at the Stanford 35. Charles Jones lines up in the backfield with Jesse Ertz. Zuber, the motion man. Here's Ertz. Looking, Ertz, pumping, breaks a tackle, trying to create, and will not get the 1st down as he stopped at the 35 by Solomon Thomas on 4th down and 2.
Boy, Solomon Thomas so strong and quick. Ertz had nowhere to go. Kansas State gives the ball over on downs, and we'll find out who the quarterback is. We'll come back. 10-0 Stanford.
Back up, he was 5 of 9 for 59 yards and a touchdown. Threw 85 career touchdown passes at Palo Alto High. He's faced with a 1st down and 10 to the 35. Burns on the sideline. He's perfect, 6 of 6, 109 yards, but Coach Shaw telling us he wants to get both quarterbacks some experience. So Christ in the shotgun on 1st down. And he'll throw it. With time over the middle, McCaffrey with the catch, runs in to an official. Close to a 1st down for Christian McCaffrey. Why do you do something like this?
You know,
when your quarterback, your starter is perfect, 6 of 6.
I think we use the term starter maybe loosely, you know, and I believe that this is a competition that has bled into the season, and that David Shaw is still evaluating these quarterbacks. And I wouldn't have done it. If I'm the head coach, I'm going with that. This is game time. It's live. These are live bullets. You lost the 1st game of the year last year. It's only 10-0. There's no reason to mess with the rhythm, but they've decided to do it.
And McCaffrey running it straight ahead. He'll pick up 3 yards on the play. Stanford losing that 1st game in Evanston against Northwestern.
You know, you don't know how rhythm is going to be affected. McCaffrey has not gotten his rhythm going running the football, and Burns had his rhythm going, was perfect throwing the ball. So to mess with that, to tinker with that, sometimes I think you can overthink it as a coach.
Marks and McCaffrey in the I formation. And a timeout called by Stanford.
First charge timeout, Stanford.
9:03 to go, second quarter, 10-0 Cardinal.
Captain Sullenberger, is there anything you would have done
to get back out there? He was the one warming up, Chris. He's known all along about this. He says it doesn't mean anything that I got the starting job for this first game. He said I have to keep the job, but what does mean something is that first touchdown. A lot of love from his teammates and a handshake from his coach.
All right, thank you very much. Second down and 7 at the 49. McCaffrey looking to get loose. Kansas State has done a nice job on him so far. They hand it to him over the left side, breaks it inside, and they pick up a first down. Remember last year in that 16-6 loss to Northwestern, McCaffrey, 12 carries, 66 yards, really never got going offensively.
It's got that feel a little bit. He had the punt return called back, but this shake is just so sudden. Donnie Starks, number 10, the nickelback, no chance in the open field. I don't know if anybody in the country has a shot against number 5 in the midfield.
2015 AP Player of the Year, according to some of the defenders for Kansas State. He's got good jukes. They'll give it to him straight ahead with running room, and he'll spin down at the 35. Reggie Walker with the tackle.
This offensive line starting to form their identity. You can see it. The hole's becoming a little bigger. They're getting a little bit more movement up the line of scrimmage. Jesse Burkett, Casey Tucker, David Bright, A.T. Hall. These guys have a long-standing tradition to fulfill of very good and physical offensive lines for the Stanford Cardinals.
Second down and 3. Under 8 minutes to play in the second quarter. McCaffrey. Oh, what a step! McCaffrey changes hands down the sideline. Touchdown, Stanford, 35 yards. He does have good jukes, Joe Platt.
Well, Kendall Adams just had a front row seat. Here's number 21. He's going to be the one with a chance. As McCaffrey breaks through the line, there's the patience, and then bang, he pops it off to the right side. He moved exactly parallel after going full speed. That's incredible.
Christian McCaffrey. Some are comparing him to a LaDainian Tomlinson, a Marshall Faulk. You'd be surprised at his size. He's 6 feet, 200 pounds. And he's got feline quickness. Ask the Wildcats. And McCaffrey on his simple approach. I don't want to overcomplicate things, he said. My goal is to get as many yards as I can on every play, score as many touchdowns as I can, and for us to win as many games as we can. And Kansas State takes a knee. Pringle. So let's take another look at the elusive Christian McCaffrey.
In the open, I talked about his vision, his patience, and his explosiveness, and that run encapsulated all of it. He wasn't even looking at number 21, Kendall Adams, and yet he felt him, the feel of a player and where he is in space, and he busts out to the right side and then finds the end zone. I mean, he's special. You said it, LaDainian Tomlinson. I would even say Marshall Faulk. Great in between the tackles runners that are also great receivers. They're great special teams players. They can do it all.
McCaffrey now 12 carries, 72 yards and a touchdown. Kansas State in deep water, trailing 17-0. First down and 10 at their own 25 for Jesse Ertz. Ertz going deep. He's got a receiver, incomplete. No flag on the play. It looks like Pringle may have been tripped up. Elijah Holder defensively for Stanford.
These corners for Stanford are long. 6'2" Elijah Holder is, and it's just incidental there. Their feet get caught up. There's definitely a little contact there, but definitely incidental as well. So A nice no call by the officials as Elijah Holder was just trying to get back in position.
2nd and 10 at the 25. Hurts underneath. And this ball is caught by Isaiah Zuber. About 3.5 yards shy of the first down.
This defense trying to improve on what they were a year ago. On 3rd down, they're 45th in the country, giving up conversions in 36% of the time. Have an opportunity to get off the field here.
3rd down and 3. Wildcats need to go to the 35 for a first down. Hurts wants to run it. Looking for the first down, and he won't get it. Great pressure. Casey Toohill, first man to him. The sophomore from San Diego.
Toohill did a great job, and then Joey Alfieri, number 32, he's also sitting right there. Alfieri from his linebacker spot. Watch him spy. So Toohill's coming from behind. Alfieri's right there. That's why Ertz had nowhere to go. Excellent, sound defense from Stanford to get off the field on 3rd down and give that man another shot. Here we go.
Last year, 15 punt returns, averaged close to 9 yards per return. He had 1 touchdown. McCaffrey. And here's signal for the fair catch at the 20. A 47-yard punt by Nick Walsh. Now every weekday morning, how about this? Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon premieres Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, only on FS1.
Excited about that show. Offered the opportunity to go on there and take part in some of those discussions with Skip and Shannon. Gus during the course of the year is head in during the week and talk about college football, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure there won't be any disagreements in there.
Oh my goodness. Skip's got trouble. Shannon's going to let him have it. Guaranteed. Ryan Burns back in the game for Stanford, handing it off on first down to McCaffrey. So Keller Christ playing the 3rd series of the game. Burns comes right back in. Christ over to the sideline.
And right now, the biggest thing that they've got going in their favor is that offensive line. They established the rhythm on the last series, and we'll see if they're able to continue to do that here against Kansas State.
2nd down and 8 at the 22. Burns, he's been perfect. Underneath, McCaffrey with the grab, and he's chopped down at the 24. Elijah Lee.
Well, that's a scary spot for Elijah Lee. They were actually singling him up, so they went empty backfield, which means all 5 receivers are out and spread and wide, and they were trying to get Christian McCaffrey, who was lined up in the slot, one-on-one with a linebacker, but he got help from the corner, Duke Shelley, who came and made it a 2-on-1, got McCaffrey to the ground.
McCaffrey in the slot at the top of your screen. Stanford 4 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. 3rd and 6 at the 24. Burns to the sideline. McCaffrey, great spin. McCaffrey, stick move, still on his feet. And finally goes down close to the Stanford 40-yard line. A 15-yard gain.
Well, how about Ryan Burns? You know, this is when you really get to see what a quarterback is made of. Is on a big 3rd down when the pressure is bearing down on him. Watch his eyes. They stay up and they stay on McCaffrey. He knows he's going to get hit, and he's still able to get the ball out for a completion on the right shoulder of Christian McCaffrey. That's excellent play. I've been very impressed with Ryan Burns. I'll be pretty surprised if they're not going to stick with him for a while here, because he has showed some serious quality play early.
8 of 8, 126 yards. First down and 10 at the 39. Here's Burns again to throw. And this time he has it swiped out of his hands. Loose ball. It looks like Stanford will recover.
That was Jordan Willis, number 75, comes in as the Big 12's leading returning sack man. He's got 14.5 in his career, and he just runs right around the tackle number 75, A.T. Hall, and then he gets that hand right up there, and he bats it on the elbow and knocks the ball loose. Excellent job from Jordan Willis. 6'5", 258. Good quickness on the edge.
Wildcats had 38 sacks last year, their most in 10 years, and they were ranked 9th nationally. One reason, this man, Jordan Willis, with 9.5. Second down and 11. Burns. He will tuck it and chop down. Dante Barnett with the tackle. Looks like some confusion on that play, Joe.
Yeah, that was definitely some confusion. Burns and Christian McCaffrey looked like they wanted to set up the screen to the right side, but almost immediately Burns didn't like it and tucked it and was trying to run that football. So some miscommunication now, and exactly what I was fearful for Stanford's sake, losing their rhythm because the quarterbacks are going in and out of the game.
Third down and 15 at the 34. Stanford needs to go to their own 49 for a first down. Burns looking for a screen. He's got McCaffrey, but McCaffrey goes nowhere. He's tackled for a loss. This time Tanner Wood, the junior from Conway Spring, Kansas, makes the stop.
I mean, when a defensive lineman has this style of recognition, he's got his head down, hand in the ground, he's engaging, and then all of a sudden he realizes something's up. I'm not being blocked, and the running back's right in front of me. He takes off with McCaffrey, makes the play. What a play from Tanner Wood.
So Jake Bailey comes in to punt. He'll start at his own 19-yard line. And back deep, Dominique Heath and Pringle. And this will be Heath from the 25. With room, hits the sideline with speed, flag on the play, cuts it inside, trying to get one more block, and finally stumbles down to the 21, but there is a flag. Daniel Marks with the saving tackle.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 57. Penalty enforced and spot of foul. First down.
It's going to come from the right of your screen. Kohlberg Couchman right there, just ever so slightly. We saw it called on Stanford earlier. These officials all over it. Flag comes out immediately. I know he doesn't think that there was that much contact. That's Sean Snyder he's talking to. Bill's son, who handles most of the special teams, and they're not going to like that.
A 53-yard return wiped out. So Kansas State will start at their own 33. A minute and 43 remaining. One timeout left. Ertz. Now Ertz tucks it and runs. And Ertz crosses the 45 and gets to midfield for the first down.
Stanford dropped everybody deep into coverage. Nowhere to go with the football. And Ertz, this is a great decision. Just rushing three, and he finds a hole. There's double coverage down the field. He's able to get all the way up for a first down.
16-yard gain. First down and 10 to the 49. Ertz, far side, and incomplete. Pringle, the intended receiver, looks like he ran the wrong route, according to his quarterback.
You know, when both guys are essentially making their first start, you don't know which one was wrong. It could have been the quarterback. I usually side with the quarterback, but you never know. Byron Pringle, Butler Community College, really talented player. Had 28 grabs last year in junior college. 9 of them went for touchdowns. Explosive down the field.
Second down and 10 to the 49. Ertz under pressure, reverses his field, throws on the run. Looks like it is caught. Burnett.
I think they're going to say he was out of bounds here and not give it to him. They're signaling incomplete, but he's trying to bring that ball in. Looks like a catch to me. There's a lot of his body inbounds, but the head linesman right away coming in saying incomplete. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they took another look at this one. It's a Pac-12 replay crew, Big 12 officiating crew, and they'll blow it there. This is the right call. They've got to take another look because Gus, from our vantage point,
was an incompleted forward pass. The previous play is now under further review.
It sure looked like he controlled that all the way through the ground.
All right, let's bring in our rules analyst, Mike Pereira. This is our first replay of the game. And Mike, regardless of what happens with this play, what are your thoughts on how the replay system has reshaped college football? How's it been going? Is it considered a success?
You know, I think it has. I thought because of the limitations, no limitations on the number of times that the games could be stopped, I do think that that the replay officials have done a pretty good job with discretion on when to stop it. This is a good example. The right shin is down. He's got control of the ball. Joel said it perfectly. When he hit the ground, he maintained control of the ball. To me, this is the obvious mistake that you want to correct on the football field. So I think at least certainly in this situation, it's worked well.
Deontay Burton. Mike talks about the shin right there, and he's got two hands on the ball, and then it does not shift. That right hand, watch his right hand. It's going to be around the ball, and when he hits the ground, there's the shin and the knee. He even gets an elbow down, and the ball, Mike, it never moves next to his body. That's control. That should be a catch.
And I agree with you. And, we get in trouble sometimes when we talk about, using the terminology moves, because the ball's always going to move. The real determining factor is, did he lose possession? Did the hands come off the ball when he hit the ground? It's okay if the ball moves a little bit as long as he still.
After review, the receiver did gain possession of the ball in the field of play. It'll be 3rd down and 1 at the 42-yard line.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. We feel that you're the best in the business. Mike Pereira, our rules analyst. So Bill Snyder, instead of being faced with a 3rd down and 10, he'll be faced with a 3rd down and 1 after the 9-yard gain. 1:06 to go in the first half. Kansas State with 1 timeout remaining. And a flag on the play. Looks like some movement on the left side of the Kansas State offensive line.
The discussion they're going to have here is that, was he drawn off by the movement of the defensive lineman? That's why this is Scott France, number 74, clearly moves.
Before the ball is snapped, false start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
But number 34, Peter Kalambaya, as you can see by the replays, he made that quick shift inside. He never entered the neutral zone, though. And I think the officials felt that Scott France, 74, the left tackle, could have held his water at that point. And because of that penalty comes at this point in the game, there is a 10-second subtraction that's going to take place on the clock. So now we go down even further here towards the half.
Kansas State penalized an average of just 39 yards a game last season. That led the Big 12 and was 16th nationally.
The defense is elected to accept the 10-second subtraction. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 42 seconds, and the game clock will start on my ready for play signal.
What he was announcing is the defense
seconds.
has the option to accept the 10-second runoff or not, and so the subtraction is going to take place. It goes down to 42.
3rd down and 6 at the 47. 41 seconds remaining. Here's Ertz, drops it off. He's got Charles Jones. Jones with a lot of running room, and he's finally knocked out of bounds at the 25 by Hoffpower. Clock stops with 27 seconds left.
Ben Edwards, number 9, he was screaming up from his safety spot. They sent an all-out blitz, and he ran right by the running back. And in one-on-one coverage, that spells the end. Big play for Kansas State. Excellent job by Ertz.
24-yard gain. First down and 10 to the 23. Ertz to throw again in the end zone. Incomplete, and a flag on the play. He certainly was held. Isaiah Zuber, the intended receiver. And this time, Elijah Holder will be flagged for interference.
Pass interference. Defense, number 13. The penalty be enforced at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Holder just got caught in poor position. He was out of position with his body. His back was to the inside of the field, and as Zuber then crossed his shoulder, all he could do was reach out and grab him. Clearly an interference there. Excellent call by the officials.
So Kansas State with the golden opportunity here. 22 seconds left. They still have a timeout remaining as Bill Snyder looks through his playbook.
This rhythm for Kansas State has certainly gotten itself going, and Ertz has done an excellent job on this series, running when he's needed to. Had a couple of conversions. They had the overturn with the completion to make a 3rd and short. So Kansas State has certainly done a nice job here getting in scoring position.
The Wildcats converted 95% of their red zone opportunities last year. 35.
15 yards. It's a full 15.
35 of the 52 conversions were touchdowns. First down and goal at the 8-yard line. Ertz. Near side. And incomplete. Intended for Pringle.
Quentin Meeks, just excellent coverage all over Pringle. And this is the toughest route to defend. And excuse me, that's Alameen Murphy, number 23. He tips that ball up in the air. That's just a fade stop, so it looks like Pringle's going to go to the back corner, and then he just stops. The ball is thrown. He's able to still cover it.
Second down and goal at the 8. 17 seconds remaining. A touchdown here would really help Kansas State's confidence heading into the second half.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And if you're wondering why they didn't burn it from the sidelines, because they only have one left. And that's where the inexperience at quarterback drives coaches mad, because they've got to understand what the play clock is doing in those situations, because they can't be saved by the sidelines. That timeout is too important with 17 seconds left.
But not a horrible penalty. Gives them a little bit more room to work with.
And especially against this secondary, which is very good. Creates some more space, Gus. Second down and goal to the 13-yard line. Ertz with time in the end zone. Incomplete. Isaiah Zuber, closest man to the ball. That brings up third down and goal. Well, this defense certainly feels like the strength of their defense is in their secondary. They run too deep back there. Big, fast, tall corners, experienced safeties that understand the game. Zach Hoffpower, 202 pounds, and we got a huge third down here. From the 13. Ertz under pressure to the corner, incomplete, and no flag. Pringle falling down. There's Pringle at the top of your screen, working against Elijah Holder again. That's absolutely a penalty on the defense. He tackled him in the end zone. How is there not a flag on the field? If I was a Kansas State fan, I would be absolutely livid. Elijah Holder just tackled the receiver in the end zone.
So the Wildcats will have to settle for a field goal attempt. Matthew McCrane.
Second charge, timeout, Stanford.
And Stanford calls a timeout.
Just a 30 seconds.
Flag, and now Kansas State is forced into a field goal attempt.
Bengal can't believe it. Matthew McCrane has made 14 field goals in a row going back to 2014. If he makes this one, he'll tie the school record of 15 set by Jamie Ream. It's up and good. So Matthew McCrane ties the school record with his 15th consecutive field goal. More importantly, Kansas State gets on the board with 1 second remaining here in the first half. Now don't forget, tomorrow college football continues at noon Eastern when Missouri takes on West Virginia on FS1 and Bowling Green faces 6th-ranked Ohio State on BTN. Then it's BYU versus Arizona at 10:30 Eastern on FS1.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that BYU contest with Arizona. Kalani Sitake, the new head coach, former player there, and he hired another former player, Ty Detmer, as his offensive coordinator. So some exciting times there in Provo for the BYU Cougars. And even though there's only 1 second, we may not be done seeing some scoring here, because that man is back inside the 5-yard line, about ready to take this kick.
Christian McCaffrey back deep. Matthew McCrane will send it away. And McCaffrey will not get a chance. This one kicks short. Rector picks it up and is wrestled down at the 17-yard line. 17-3, our halftime score. Remember, the Wildcats won 3 games last year when trailing at halftime, beating Louisiana Tech, Iowa State, and West Virginia. 17-3. Now let's send you to Rob Stone in the studio. Things out there.
I did too. I really loved what he was able to do with his feet, because I felt like that settled him down and that got the rhythm of the offense going. And ultimately, that's what set him up for what I thought should have been a touchdown, but that was negated by the hold in the end zone that was not called.
So Kansas State receiving to start the second half, and they'll start from their own 25-yard line after the field goal to end the first half. Let's go downstairs to Shannon.
And Gus, Bill Snyder, he also echoed that thought about Jesse Ertz. He said he did like what he saw. He does want to see a little bit better decision making. And as for that defense, he said we have got to be better on 3rd down, and we have to stop number 5. Now for the other side, Stanford will continue to see both quarterbacks in the can we finish this game? We played 30 minutes. What's the next 30 going to look like?
All right, thank you very much. David Shaw has to be pleased with what he's seen thus far with his team. And a flag on the play.
False start. Offense. Number 56. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So Rail Johnson, one of the 2 offensive linemen back with starting experience. He had started 4 games a year ago. A junior college transfer that played some last year. He is a senior. Gets a little early start here on the first snap.
First down and 15 at the 20-yard line. And another flag.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Now, as a former quarterback, when you see something like this happen, I know that Ertz is young. What's actually going on in his mind that prohibited him from getting the playoff in time?
Well, too much. There's too much to explain. That's the problem. There's too much going on in his mind. He has an inability to compartmentalize what's going on with the play clock, what's going on with the opposing defense and their structure, and what he has to do operationally for his own offense.
6 Kansas State penalties, 1st and 20. Here comes a corner blitz. And it's Jones running the football, breaks it back with some space as he gets to the 23, maybe the 24. Justin Reed with the tackle. But how about David Shaw? Look at what he's done at Stanford. 11-2 in 2011, 12-2 in 2012, 11-3 in 2013. Off year in 14, 8-5, 12-2 last year. Won the Rose Bowl, finished 3rd. He's got a monk-like persona.
He absolutely does. They've won 10 games in 4 of his 5 seasons. Those 4 10-win seasons equal the amount of 10-win seasons they had in their previous history.
How many teeth with the catch? And when you talk to David Shaw and you get into his office, he's very thoughtful, quiet. You can tell he thinks all the time about situations and not a rah-rah guy. Some criticize Coach Shaw for being conservative, but you have to look at all the positive results.
I don't know if there's a better fit in the country, maybe Nick Saban in Alabama, but he's certainly a great fit here at Stanford, and his defense has another chance here on another 3rd down opportunity.
3rd down and 5 at the 30. Hurts over the middle, and this is caught. 1st down. Dominique Heath digging that football off the turf, and he'll keep the chains moving for the Wildcats.
I love the ball placement from Ertz. When you've got an inside breaking route, in particular on 3rd down, you've got to throw it low and away from the defender. That's exactly what he did. What you're doing is protecting the receiver with the ground. And he takes him down for the conversion. That's an excellent throw from Jesse Ertz.
So after being faced with the 1st and 20, 1st down for K-State at their own 38. Now Ertz looking to run it. Bottled up. Tries to get outside. Flag on the play. Kalambayi, closest defender for Stanford. And it's a holding penalty against K-State.
That's going to be number 62, Tyler Mitchell, the left guard.
Holding. Offense, number 62. Penalty is declined. 2nd out.
And not a good sign. Ertz still on the ground right now.
And we haven't seen a lot of this vintage Kansas State quarterback run because of Ertz and his knee. They didn't want to subject him to some of these hits after the ACL injury a year ago. And now he's down, and it looks like they're stretching his legs out. Trying to get some fluid. Let's hope this is not serious. Joe Huebner is the backup quarterback. He was the starter for 11 games a year ago, completed only 47% of his passes, more of a running threat, as Ertz is going to leave under his own power.
So Huebner will come in for at least 1 play. Senior. As Ertz jogs off the field. Joe Huebner, former walk-on who started those 11 games, as you mentioned, Joe, last year.
And he had him in position to beat TCU. He had him in position to beat Oklahoma State at times, even Baylor. So he's got the experience. 22 total touchdowns in 2015. 3rd most among FBS quarterbacks.
2nd down and 14 at the 34. And Huebner will throw. Huebner winding up down the field, and he throws a pick as soon as he gets in. Dallas Lloyd trying to bring it back. Lloyd with blockers. And Lloyd out of bounds at the Kansas State 40. Wow. A 26-yard return. And that is the first turnover of the game.
I am shocked that they threw a pass, in particular that pass. Ertz hasn't even been able to stretch the ball down the field. Huebner, who struggled so much throwing the ball a year ago, was more of a running threat. You would have thought that they would have just gone right back to their quarterback counter, which is their bread and butter, with Joe Huebner, who did that all season. So a turnover, and a crucial one, given a short field to Stanford, who offensively really hasn't been stopped by Kansas State all night long.
So Stanford on the field for the first time here in the 2nd half. 1st down and 10 at the K-State 40. Burns looks far side, delivers underneath. Ball caught at the 30-yard line by Michael Rector. And a first down for Stanford.
His decision-making is precise. The timing of the offense, the rhythm of the offense. Ryan Burton looks very good. Hasn't thrown an incompletion.
He's 10 of 10. Now, we just fell in love with Kevin Hogan last year. But for this kid to come in, first start, and to perform this way thus far is very, very impressive.
He stayed within the offense. He hasn't had to do anything extraordinary. Reads the curl flat, give it to the wide receiver on time. That's all he's doing.
First down and 10 at the 27. Simple game. Right, partner? Here's McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey going down. Reggie Walker gets him from behind.
I thought it was a great moment that David Shaw spoke to us about. Before spring practice, he brought both quarterbacks up, Keller Chris as well as Ryan Burns, and he said in front of the team to these two players, all you have to do is fulfill a role. You're not here to be a star. And then he looked at the team and he said, you're here to help them out. You've got to do your job and make it easy on them, and that's what we're seeing so far here in this first game.
Second down and 5. McCaffrey fumbled ball, loose, picked up by Kansas State, and here they go. Moore down the sideline. Kansas State looking for a break. Moore breaks it inside, but he stepped out of bounds at the 29. Jordan Willis dislodging the football. So Michael Moore steps out of bounds at the Stanford 29-yard line.
This is the problem with the quarterback exchange with the running back. He's trying to read the play and then run with the ball, and McCaffrey just squeezed a little bit too hard. He's got to be decisive. Decisiveness is the key to the quarterback run game. Give it or take it, but you've got to be sure of the ball security. And Michael Moore looks like he's going to have a touchdown right here, but there's his right foot just hitting the paint, and they bring it all the way back. So about the 29-yard line, like you said. What a great break for Kansas State, and Michael Moore capitalizes, taking it all the way down inside the 30.
So Ertz back in the game, first down. Now Ertz, quarterback run. He'll dive forward. So Ertz quickly gets back in the game. Here's Shannon.
Gus, you know Kansas State, they don't give out injury information, but watching Jesse Ertz on the sideline, they did loosen up that brace on his right leg. They were rolling his right calf and getting fluids in him, so it looks like a cramp.
And I'll tell you what, you know this young man does not want to go out of the game, especially considering what happened last year.
That ACL that he tore on the very first play of the season, and now he's establishing a rhythm. 8 rushes for 41 yards so far tonight.
Second down and 8 at the 27. Looking to run it, Ertz, and this time he's sacked.
You know, but at this point, he just can't move. He's got a cramp in that left calf, and he's saying, I can't move. He's telling his lineman, I can't move. And they're going to have to put Joe Huebner back in the game because they just can't execute as Ertz is dealing with these leg issues.
Now Huebner comes back in on his only snap. He threw an interception.
Oh, and it's 3rd and 12. I think you might just want to call a run play here. I mean, this is where you just got to gather yourself and not create a big play for the defense.
Huebner, a very solid running quarterback. He'll throw to the far side. Caught. Pringle. And a first down. I'll tell you what, you've got to have some courage.
That's right.
To do something like that.
Yeah, and big credit to Joe Huebner. I mean, loses the job of the quarterback position to Ertz. Throws a pick on his very first play when Ertz is struggling with cramps. And then he comes back right away in a big 3rd down against a very good defense, and he throws a strike for a conversion. That's moxie. Well done.
A 14-yard gain. First down and 10. At the Stanford 17. Now Huebner running. And Huebner tackled from behind by Harrison Phillips.
And you can see why that lack of a holding call / pass interference at the end of the half is so big, because this offense is not built for big plays and explosion plays. It should be 17-7 right now.
Hubner rushed for 613 yards and 13 touchdowns last year. He had a 111-yard rushing game and 4 TDs against TCU. 2nd and 10. And they'll hand it off to Jones. And you have to like the way the interior line is played tonight against Kansas State if you're Stanford.
Yep. Solomon Thomas, Harrison Phillips, Dylan Jackson, Eric Cotton, Jordan Watkins. This defensive front was not very good, and they're replacing Blake Martinez. Remember the linebacker, he had 141 tackles last year, so they were wondering where that production was going to come from. Right now, collectively, they've been playing very good so far.
Martinez now playing with the Green Bay Packers. 2nd and 6 at the 13. Make that 3rd and 6, excuse me. Here's Hubner. Near side, incomplete. Dominique Keith, the intended receiver.
Excellent coverage from Justin Reed. Another big, tall secondary player, 6'1". But as he's coming off that corner position, he's right there. Dallas Lloyd in on that play as well, forcing another field goal.
So Matthew McCrane going for a new school record. He's hit 15 in a row. This one from 30 yards away. And it's good. Kansas State will take the points. 7:39 to play 3rd quarter. 17-6.
Watching on the college football on Fox Facebook page, and send us your questions. Myself, Matt Leinart, Bruce Feldman, being there giving all the info that we've got and answering your questions. So it's a fun little forum. Talk college football.
How long does it last?
Usually about 35 to 45 minutes.
Okay. So McCrane sets the school record now, 16 consecutive free throws in basketball mode. Field goals.
It's the first game for everybody, right?
My goodness. McCaffrey back deep. This one kicked short. They're trying to keep it away from him. And Stanford will start from the 25 as Cameron Scarlett returns it. 17-6 our score. We'll see some more of Christian McCaffrey, the Heisman hopeful, right after this.
Domino's has a $7.99 Monday through Thursday carryout deal. But if you carry out Friday through Sunday,
hit a bit of a wall. Mobile Strike. Download and play now. Free from the App Store.
Welcome back to FS1 College Football, presented by Geico. Stanford Stadium here in Stanford, California. And the Cardinal ranked 8th in the nation, leading Kansas State 17-6. First down and 10 of the 29. Christian McCaffrey back on the field. And they'll give it to him running left. Stutter step gets through the hole, but tripped up. Nicely done on defense by guess who? Sir Michael Moore.
And he had lots of green grass in front of him. This was just barely, just by the toe. Sure, Michael, sure-handed.
2-yard gain so far for Stanford. Their last 2 possessions, a punt and a fumble after scoring on their first 3. 2nd and 8 at the 31. Play action. Burns rolling out, throws, and incomplete. Ball intended for Trenton Irwin. That one thrown at his feet. First incomplete pass of the night for Ryan Burns. Brings up 3rd down and 8. This Kansas State defense really doing a nice job of slowing down this Stanford offense.
They maintained their integrity, and that's exactly the model that Bill Snyder loves from his defense. Stay in your position and do your job.
3rd down and 8. McCaffrey splits out in the slot, bottom of your screen. Burns. Underneath to McCaffrey, but he won't pick up the first down as he's wrapped up quickly by Elijah Lee. And Stanford will have to punt it away.
That's just a great series from Kansas State, because that's the point in the game where you feel like it might have gotten away from Kansas State. They had to settle for the field goal. If Stanford goes down and gets a score, Gus, 24-6 seems insurmountable right now for Kansas State, the way that they've been playing offensively. So their defense keeping them in the game here in the third quarter.
Can they get a positive return? Dominique Heath and Pringle back deep. Jake Bailey standing at the 22, mostly a situational punter last year. Toward the near side, takes a Stanford bounce, and will be downed inside the 10. Nicely done by Jake Bailey. 5:58 to go in the third quarter. 17-6, here comes K-State.
What was it you were doing again?
Why do you want to join the CIA?
This game turning away Stanford, and now Joe Huebner in for Jesse Ertz, who's back in the locker room now. Will take the field. As you take a look at the quarterback comparisons, Huebner throwing an interception first play. But he can run the ball. Powerful runner as a quarterback. And he'll hand it off. Silman will push the pile forward. Kevin Palma receives it.
The scouting report for Huebner is that past about 15 yards down the field, the accuracy goes way down. His completion percentage goes way down. So what you're going to see is Stanford start to crowd the line of scrimmage. More defenders will be within 10 yards of the ball than you saw with Jesse Ertz.
Second down and 3. Huebner pulls it down over the middle and complete. Zuber, the intended receiver.
You see, because of that, these Stanford players, they know that. They're very locked in on the game plan and the scouting report on the opponent. So you see quick breaking on the wide receivers right when Huebner rises to throw, because they understand that down the field is not his strength. But at 3rd and 3, Gus, that quarterback counter is what he made his money on last year.
Remember, he's 6'5", 212. They run the option. Here's the pitch. And the first down for Kansas State. Charles Jones, well executed by the Wildcats.
And a great block by the fullback, Winston Dimmel. Here he's going to come around, and he's going to be making that block right up there on number 8. That's Justin Reed. He gets him down. That's what allows some space to get to the chains and actually get the conversion. Winston Dimmel, one of the best fullbacks in the Big 12. First team all Big 12 last season.
First down and 10 of the 18. Ertz coming back on the field. Huebner. Up the sideline. He's got a receiver. Incomplete. Dominique Heath had 2 steps on Justin Reed, but Huebner just couldn't put it on him.
There's where we see aggressive coverage on the outside. Stanford daring Kansas State to throw it down the field, and Hot Power gets beat. That's a great route by Dominique Heath, and Huebner has got to complete that ball. You just don't get that many chances in a college football game to make explosive plays, in particular against top 10 teams on the road. Those chances are so rare, you got to take advantage.
Second down and 10 at the 18. Huebner underneath, caught, and a first down for the Wildcats. Deontay Burton, and I think Kansas State may have seen something. Getting their speed receivers lined up in one-on-one situations with Hoffpower.
The slant has been working, the inside breaking routes. Anytime they're trying to throw something outside of the numbers or down the field, they're having a whole lot of trouble. But when their wide receivers are running those slants, breaking towards the inside, they're having a lot more success. But now, Wildcat formation, Huebner down here as a wide receiver.
First down and 10 at the 34. Charles Jones in the Wildcat. And he runs it right. And Jones with a powerful run as he gets it to midfield. A 15-yard gain. Wildcats finding their rhythm now. Stanford looks a bit confused on defense.
And the offensive line starting to find their rhythm. More importantly, remember, this is such a young offensive line. Very few starts coming back, but they're starting to win up front. Lean on that defensive front. And then the physical runs from the running backs starting to take their toll on this Stanford defense.
Jesse Ertz back in at quarterback. First down and 10 at the 48. Ertz with the handoff to Silman. He breaks it back and gets inside Stanford territory for 3-yard gain. What do they do to you when you go into the locker room with cramps?
Force fluids, try to stretch you out. Sometimes they'll take an IV to try to get you more hydrated. But now they're going to start ushering in and out these quarterbacks. This is because Huebner is the much better runner. So if they want a threat as a running quarterback, they're going to put Huebner in. If they want to throw it, Ertz is going to go in the ball game. A bit of a tell, but that's what they're forced into at this point.
Second and 7 at the 49. Winston Dimmel in at running back. He's usually a lead blocker. And he runs that way. Huebner. And he'll crawl down inside the 45. Kevin Palmer stops him. But you talked about Winston Dimmel and his great blocking ability. When he comes in the game and Huebner has an empty backfield, chances are the 6'5" quarterback is going to run the football.
That's basically a Wildcat formation at that point, and they're going to run that quarterback lead. Huge third down opportunity here. Huebner still in the ball game.
Third down and 3. Kansas State 6 of 11 on third down conversions. Charles Jones in the backfield. Huebner. And that ball is complete to Dayton Valentine, and it looks like he has enough for a first down.
Lots of credit to Huebner. This is great recognition. You're going to see the blitz come off the left side of your screen, and anytime you're going to see a blitz as a quarterback, answer it with the football. Put the football right back into the pressure. That's where the void is. Huebner stands up, makes an easy throw, and they move the chains.
10th play of the drive that started at the 7-yard line for Kansas State. First down and 10 at the Stanford 39. Jones keeping his feet moving. And Charles Jones getting to the second level of the Stanford defense. He gained 6. Alfieri with the tackle.
Doesn't this feel like a character drive? The character of your team starting to be formed in week 1. Down 11 on the road, top 10 opponent, and the offensive line starting to gel. You're getting that feeling from Kansas State right here.
Second and 4 at the 33. Seven seconds remaining on the clock. Here's the quick option. Silman. And Silman down at the 25. Quentin Meeks stops him, but right now Kansas State with some smash mouth football.
Okay, Gus, this is going to be the speed option. I know that's a technical term, but that means you don't block the defensive end, and the quarterback runs right at him and pitches the ball off him. Everybody else gets blocked. It's never designed for the quarterback to run it. It's designed for that defensive end to get sucked in by the quarterback, pitch it outside, executed perfectly by Kansas State.
9-yard gain. First down and 10. Once again, a handoff to Silman. This time he's knocked backwards. And that will end the third quarter. But this game starting to get tight now. Kansas State gaining confidence. Fourth quarter coming up right after this. Stanford on top of Kansas State 17-6. K-State driving, second and 11. Hubner bottled up, and Hubner will be sacked. Great job, Peter Columbai. And that's a loss of 8 yards.
There was a lot of confusion there. The wide receivers actually didn't even start their routes at the snap. They were all looking at each other. So a broken play for Kansas State. A huge break here for Stanford because that knocks you potentially out of field goal range.
Third down and 19. And a timeout called by, actually a delay of game.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
You know, at this point, this is a program failure because we've seen the quarterback not pay attention to the game clock, but this tells me the sideline is not paying attention to the game clock either. This is their third delay of game call, and it's been with both different quarterbacks. So the entire mechanism of calling the plays, looking over to the sideline, somebody has to keep their attention on the play clock.
The penalties for Kansas State, 7 for 40 yards. And you never see Bill Snyder teams penalized. Third down and 24. Hubner, he's got to let it fly. Drops it off in the flats. Warmack. And he'll get to the original line of scrimmage or close to it. And brings up fourth down.
I really like that play call because what that did is it got you back into field goal range as we've got a Stanford player down now. About the 40-yard line. But a first down was most likely out of the question, but getting back into field goal range was the most important part of that play call. They were able to do that. That's number 66, Harrison Phillips. He's been a monster tonight.
17-6. Back after this.
If only Phil were a telemarketer. Crystal clear nationwide calling for free and a whole lot more. Ooma, the phone your home deserves.
Matthew McCrane set the school record in this game. 16 consecutive field goals made dating back to 2014. He's hit 2 30-yarders. This attempt will be from 42 yards away. And he hooked it. (17-6). 13:27 to go in the fourth quarter. Matthew McCrane had a chance to get K-State a little closer, but misses the 42-yard field goal. And there have been some key plays in this game.
Well, first you had the no call. This tackle in the end zone. No flag comes out. Kansas State has to settle for a field goal. Then the big play on defense. Stanford turns the ball over, and Shemichael Moore looks like he's going to score. He steps out of bounds. They had to settle for a field goal. Then their most promising drive of the night. 15 plays, settle for a field goal attempt. McCrane hooks it, and they still have 6 points.
First down and 10 at the 25 for Stanford. Their offense has been sputtering as of late as McCaffrey crosses the 30 and gets up to the 32-yard line. Reggie Walker brings him down.
Outside of a couple of snaps in those first 3 drives, this Kansas State defense has been so good and it's so effective, maintaining their discipline and tackling well in space.
Second down and 4 at the 31. McCaffrey again hopping. And he will be tackled for a loss by Elijah Lee. This Kansas State defense very confident now, taking on one of the best offensive players in the nation in Christian McCaffrey.
And they wanted the challenge. Speaking with some of their players during the course of the week, Elijah Lee in particular said, hey, you want to see the best players in the country because you want to be tested. Well, they've been tested tonight, and they've answered that bell. This Kansas State defense has played remarkably well and have another chance to get off the field on the third down.
Third down and 4 at the 31. This would be huge for the Kansas State defense if they get off the field. Low snap, Burns underneath, and a first down. Dalton Schultz with the reception, an 8-yard gain. Last season he had 10 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown. He's considered the next great Stanford tight end. Preseason first team all Pac-12. He's also on the Mackey Award watch list.
And another great decision by Ryan Burns. 12 of 13 so far in the game.
First down at the 39. Burns delayed handoff. McCaffrey, and he goes nowhere. Reggie Walker first man to him. And they're daring Christian McCaffrey to run the football now.
Well, they're just beating the offensive line. You know, this defensive front seven for Kansas State had that one run that McCaffrey got loose, gets it into the end zone, but they have been spectacular. They're so difficult to face. A Bill Snyder coach defense is so difficult to face because they never get out of position. They never provide you an opportunity. They're so disciplined, and they're showing that tonight.
Let's see if Stanford tries to loosen up this Kansas State defense by taking a shot. Second and 11 at the 38. Rector already has a 40-yard touchdown. Here's Burns. Steps up and incomplete to Bouada, the intended receiver. And that'll bring up third down and long.
This defense has not had to blitz. They haven't had to pressure much. Their safeties have been spectacular. Dante Barnett and Kendall Adams. And now another chance to get off the field. Their defensive line is winning the battle right now against the Stanford offensive line. And providing a little pressure here will go a long way.
Rector, the receiver at the top of your screen. He's the speedster. Third down and 11. Burns under pressure, underneath. Rector with the catch, but Rector tackled immediately, and Stanford will have to punt it away again.
Duke Shelley, perfect position. Once again, disciplined football, exactly where he's supposed to be. Burns makes the right read, gets it to Rector, but the defense is just better, and they get off the field again. What a remarkable second half for this Kansas State defense.
So Jake Bailey will punt it away from the 30. Dominique Heath, Byron Pringle back deep for Kansas State. Pringle will get a chance from the 10. Stop and start. Tries to get down the sideline and is tripped up at the 15. A 47-yard punt and a 6-yard return. Jesse Ertz back on the field. What, the Kansas State defense playing extremely well. They forced Stanford into 3 punts and a fumble in the last 4 possessions, but the big question is, can their offense pay it off and put some points on the board?
Last time they were on the field, they had their most successful drive of the night. They ended in a missed field goal, but it was 15 plays long.
First down and 10 at the 15. Silman. And he'll run right, pick up a couple. 10 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, opening game for these two teams.
Quarterback decisions are nuanced things, and we've seen rhythm leave these offense based on who's in at quarterback and what drive it is. Now all of a sudden Ertz is back in at quarterback for Kansas State, and Huebner just had a fairly successful drive, and so these coaches toying with the rhythm of their entire team with some of these decisions.
Second and 7. Hubner looking. He goes up the sideline and intercepted. Make that Ertz. Ertz throwing the pick as Quentin Meeks brings it down. Here come the Cardinal. Burns throwing under pressure and incomplete. Trenton Irwin, the intended receiver.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've been talking about they needed to do, is extend the defense. Try to get a ball deep down the field. Get the safeties out of there. It's been so tough for them to run the ball in this second half. They haven't had any room or space to get Christian McCaffrey loose.
Second down and 10 at the 48. Christian McCaffrey has rushed for 100 or more yards in 13 straight games. Here's McCaffrey looking, breaks it back, and dragged down from behind once again. Wow. Tanner Wood this time.
This is just a failure right here. It's a slip. Casey Tucker, he's going to just slip, fall down. Defensive lineman Tanner Wood just standing there unblocked. McCaffrey has no chance from the get-go on that play, and it brings up another 3rd and long. You're putting a lot of pressure on this young quarterback, Ryan Burns, to make big plays in a tough game.
3rd down and 11 at the 49. Play fake, Burns. Incomplete. To Guada. And Irwin, closest men to the football, and that's going to force Stanford to punt once again.
The effort from Davis Clark, Gus, is just so good. He's coming out, getting after the quarterback. There's no time for Ryan Burns to throw the ball. That's a no-chancer again. This offensive line just getting beat up front.
Jake Bailey will punt it from the 36. Heath, Pringle, the deep men for Kansas State. And this one, down at the 1-yard line. Trenton Irwin. A 48-yard punt. Bailey, excellent job. Opening game for both these teams. Last 3 drives, Kansas State has started at the 7, 15, and 1-yard line. Jesse Ertz back in at quarterback after throwing the interception. He'll hand it off to Jones. And Jones crosses the 5, gets up close to the 7.
And now time is becoming precious for Kansas State. They're not a team that's going to move with all that quick a tempo anyways, but they're going to have to start getting in that direction, because down 11, backed up at the 6-yard line. You got to get this ball down the field fairly quickly.
Got to give a lot of credit to Jake Bailey, the Stanford punter. He's been the MVP so far of this game, pinning Kansas State deep numerous times. Ertz in the end zone, throws it over the middle, and Charles Jones spinning forward. Would be about 1.5 yards short of the 1st down. Kalimbayi.
Situationally, the Stanford defense have to understand the urgency with which Kansas State needs to move. You can't bite on any double moves. Don't let anyone deep. You don't want to allow them down the field too quickly via the big play.
3rd down and 1. Ertz in trouble, and Ertz sacked. Kalambayi again, and Kansas State will not pick up the first down and have to punt the football away.
Excellent defense from Stanford. Everybody in their responsibility in their lane. They stand the defense up, and then everybody eyes on the quarterback. Good tackling in the backfield, and Stanford with an excellent series getting their ball back for their offense.
So Nick Walsh, 8 yards deep in his own end zone. Christian McCaffrey looking for an opportunity to return one. He may get it right here from the 45. McCaffrey still moving, and he'll get to the K-State 38-yard line. Trent tanking with the special teams tackle, but a flag on the play.
I don't think that's a flag. I think someone just lost their towel out there.
Oh, is that what it is? You may be right, partner. And there's the towel.
That might be McCaffrey's towel.
Yes.
Sometimes that's all they can get.
So no flag. Stanford last 5 drives, no points. 4 punts and a fumble. And they'll pitch it to McCaffrey. Been a tough day for Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Willis making the stop.
That's if you look at the schematics of football, as simply as I can say it, in order to run the ball against Kansas State, you generally have to spread your formation out to get all of those secondary players out of the run box. What Stanford's trying to do is maintain their tightness, a tight end, a fullback, and it's almost impossible to run the ball like that against Kansas State.
Now McCaffrey in the Wildcat formation. Running left, looking for a crease. Not much.
You see how quickly the safety is up at the line of scrimmage?
Kendall Adams.
Number 21, Kendall Adams has had a big night.
Timeout, Kansas State.
Kansas State's going to try to save some time here. 2-possession game. Bill Snyder needs the ball back in a hurry.
Said I'm wild, said I'm wild, said I'm free. You cannot lose, so go ahead, set them free.
.5:15 to go in the fourth quarter. Stanford with the lead and the football. Faced with a 3rd down and 8 at the Kansas State 37-yard line. Northwestern, the season opener last year, was the game in which Stanford had problems running it. Burns, quick strike underneath McCaffrey, and he'll gain about a yard, maybe rather. Looks like he's right back at the line of scrimmage. Jordan Willis with the tackle, brings up 4th down, and Stanford will punt.
These play calls very conservative, and some Stanford fans might be wondering what they're trying to achieve here. Well, the defense has played so well. Kansas State has not shown the ability to move the ball down the football field. Jake Bailey has pinned them down inside the 10 twice now. He might be just trying not to make a mistake with a young quarterback.
Bailey punting from midfield. End over end kick. This usually bounces back in. And it doesn't, but is downed inside the 5 at the 2-yard line. Bailey will get a game ball after this performance. Now tomorrow college football continues at noon Eastern when Missouri takes on West Virginia on FS1 and Bowling Green faces 6th ranked Ohio State on the Big Ten Network. Then it's BYU versus Arizona at 10:30 Eastern on FS1. How about Ohio State? They lose 16 starters.
They're the least experienced team in the country. 128 out of 128 still return as the 6th-ranked team in the country, and that's a big credit to what Urban Meyer has been able to do in recruiting in the last couple of years.
Can Michigan get him this year?
It's going to be close. That's going to be a heavyweight matchup.
In Columbus State. 1st and 10 at the 2-yard line. And they throw it. Hurts. Got it away, and it's intercepted by Kevin Palma.
I don't think he was still up. I think that was a safety. They're calling it.
Was it the quarterback's knee was down? Safety.
He's going to be in the hands of the defensive lineman. Number 75, Jordan Watkins, is going to break through and then watch his knee. He doesn't, yeah, absolutely down. Ball still in his hands. Officials all over it. Absolutely a safety as Ertz is unable to get that ball off before he's sacked in the end zone.
7 sacks for Stanford tonight.
They have been all over those quarterbacks. That's one thing that they did not do a great job of, is put pressure on the quarterback a year ago. They wanted to get better at that. They've done that. They've established that in this game. 7 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. This defense has certainly returned to some of its form from 2 or 3 years ago when they were one of the top units in all the country, and certainly in this conference, the Pac-12.
19-6 Stanford, 4:11 to go in the 4th quarter. Stanford playing Kansas State this week. They'll have a bye next week, and then the rubber meets the road. Home against USC, on the road at UCLA and Washington. And then they come back home to take on Washington State, followed by a game in South Bend at Notre Dame. You talked to me during our meeting yesterday about Stanford, who finished 3rd in the country last year. What did they need to do to get a chance to get into the playoffs? You said they needed to go 5-1 in their first 6.
If they go 5-1 through that gauntlet, presented by Coors Light, that schedule, I'll tell you what, it'll be playoff bound. You know, they still have Oregon. Obviously, they would still have to play very well during the back half of the season, but that's as tough a first 6 games as I've ever seen.
Here's a short kick. Kansas State trying to get the football back. So they fool Stanford on that with the onside kick and recovery.
Shouldn't have fooled them. It's absolutely what they should have been doing. That's number 46.
Kirby.
Jade Kirby, the linebacker, perfectly executed. McCrane has handled the field goal duties. It's not their normal kicker for the kickoff. That should have tipped them off right away. Ian Patterson normally handles their kickoffs, but McCrane was in there and chips it perfectly to Kirby. Kansas State with the ball.
The Kansas State offense back on the field with 4:09 to go. Coach Snyder may have to really open it up now. Throw the ball down the field. Hurts reversing. Sets up. Looking. With time. And it is incomplete. Pringle just couldn't maintain control.
I've been impressed with him so far. He hasn't had a big night numbers wise. Only 1 catch, 14 yards, but he's been thrown to 11 times. You understand they're trying to get him the ball. They're trying to make him a focal point of this offense. Right now, they're just trying to figure out which quarterback that's going to be. I think it's going to be Ertz long term. Hubner had the nice long drive. But at this point, they got to press this football down the field in a hurry.
Rolling on the field was an incompleted forward pass. The previous play is now under further review.
So they'll take a look at it.
I just don't think that there's going to be enough video evidence to overturn that ruling. This one might be a better look. You can see it's being juggled around right there, kind of trapped in between their legs, and yeah, it's almost impossible to see where he actually gains possession and control of that ball before he hits the sideline. So this one will most certainly stay an incompletion and bring up 2nd and 10. I've been impressed with what I've seen so far from Kansas State in terms of their grittiness, and I know that's a hallmark of Bill Snyder.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Incompleted forward pass.
So a tough game for Kansas State to start the season here at Stanford, the 8th-ranked team in the nation. Next week, the Wildcats will have a bye week, followed by games against Florida Atlantic, Missouri State. Then they'll be at West Virginia to start conference play. You get the feeling that Kansas State is going to do much better in the Big 12 this season. 2nd and 10 at the 34. Ertz delivers, and it's caught. Deontay Burton.
They certainly will find an identity during the course of this season. Every Bill Snyder team does. But they've been tough and gritty, very disciplined in this game.
Although they have been penalized quite a bit tonight for a Bill Snyder team. 7 penalties for 40 yards. Third down and 3. Ertz lines up. And it's caught. Dominique Heath all the way down inside the Stanford 15, a 44-yard gain. Hoffpower with the saving tackle.
Absolutely the best pass of the night for Kansas State and Jesse Ertz. That was right on the money. Good coverage from Zach Hoffpower, who's right there, but the little bit of separation is what allowed that ball to drop in, and Dominique Heath gives a late hands, catches it late, perfectly done.
First down and 10 at the 15-yard line for Kansas State. No quit in these Wildcats. Ertz looking in the end zone, feels the pressure, spins, tries to square his shoulders, on the move, incomplete. Pringle, the intended receiver.
Have to get into the end zone, but you don't want to end the game prematurely with interception. So a quality decision from Jesse Ertz there, just throwing it out of bounds. The matchup that they've had success with is their big wide receivers in the slot against number 10, Zach Hoffpower.
2nd and 10. Here's Ertz. Under pressure. And incomplete again. Charles Jones. Third down and 10 for Kansas State. 2:35 to go.
Gus, the inside breaking routes, the slant passes, the under routes, that's what they've had success with. This is a situation they absolutely have to have a conversion. Look for number 7, Isaiah Zuber. It's been excellent so far today.
3rd and 10. Here's Ertz looking. Flag on the play. Ertz just throws it up and out of bounds.
We're going to get a hold right in the middle of the offensive line. Joey Alfieri, number 32, was just screaming through the middle of the line and got held.
Holding. Offense, number 67. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Reed Niver, the center. So that'll make it 4th down and 10. Here's Ertz on 4th and 10, looks in the end zone. Oh, what a catch! Did he get in? Yes, he did! Isaiah Zuber as Ertz puts that one in a shoebox. And with that touchdown, you can't help but to think about the 42-yard miss from Matthew McCaffrey.
A miss earlier. They had the no call at the end of the first half. Did he maintain possession? There's a foot. He's got control. Absolutely a catch. What a throw from Ertz. Maybe only topped by the catch by the redshirt freshman. Boy, excellent series there. 2 huge completions down the field. One to Heath, then the touchdown to Isaiah Zuber.
Extra point good. 19-13. A lot of time remaining. 2:20. Kansas State with 2 timeouts left. McCaffrey, do you go for the onside kick here?
I think they might. You know, Stanford's so methodical. This defense has done a heck of a job. This would be a tough decision because the defense really has been sensational in stopping Christian McCaffrey. They have 2 timeouts left.
And here's the onside kick.
Didn't go 10 yards.
Didn't go 10 yards. McCaffrey successful on the onside kick after the safety.
Ruling on the field was he had illegal touching. The kicking team recovered the ball before it had gone 10 yards. Be Stanford's ball, 1st and 10.
He goes to the other side this time.
Yeah, they were trying to fake him out there and act like he's going down the middle of the field and then just hook it over to the left side. And he just hooked it a little bit too much.
Kansas State still with 2 timeouts. Stanford with all 3 of theirs.
Certainly a long way from being over here with the way that this defense has played against the run game for this Stanford Cardinal.
1st down and 10 at the 41. Ball security important for Stanford here. McCaffrey. And McCaffrey! There it is. Over 100 yards. 14 straight games. Touchdown Cardinal. Christian McCaffrey, 22 carries, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Touchdowns of 41 yards and 35 yards. And Conrad Ukropina comes in for the extra point. And it's good. 2:12 to go in the 4th. Christian McCaffrey.
It's a golden opportunity to discover what we learn on the track doesn't stay on the track. It just finds more street-legal form. For a limited time, get some of the best offers of the year on our complete line of F-Sport performance vehicles at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get up to $5,000 customer cash on select 2016 models. Ends September 5th. See your Lexus dealer.
26-13. Stanford as the Cardinal, and that offensive line opening up another huge hole for McCaffrey. 126 yards rushing. However, Kansas State has made it difficult for him to get these numbers this evening.
Really just 2 big runs, you know, for the bulk of those yards. You take those 2 runs away, and Kansas State did an outstanding job, but credit Stanford and McCaffrey for keeping at it.
Cardinals send it away. Pringle. Let's take another look at the McCaffrey touchdown.
The key block is going to be the extra offensive lineman as he comes up, and he's actually going to block the linebacker. Number 35, Will Davis. He scoops up and bang right there. That's where you see the block, and that's where the hole is created. And then there's nobody after that. McCaffrey is gone. Nick Wilson is a reserve offensive lineman. He comes in as a tight end, and he gets the biggest block of the night, springs the Heisman hopeful for a touchdown and a scamper that puts him over the 100-yard mark.
Kansas State taking over. First down and 10 at the 21. Ertz under pressure gets it off to Charles Jones. Jones still running, picks up the first down. Tell you what, though, this Kansas State team has shown some signs that they have a chance, taking on the 8th-ranked team in the nation, week 1, to be very good as this season progresses.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of potential there, in particular with their defense. I just think they've been special tonight outside of a couple of plays. That's Quentin Meeks, number 24, that's down. He's a sophomore from San Diego. One of these big, long, tall corners, 6'2", 192 pounds. He did play as a true freshman a year ago in 14 games. He's actually the National Defensive Player of the Week early in November.
And they're impressed with their corners. They're both very big corners. As Meeks, as you mentioned, 6'2". Elijah Holder, 6'2" as well.
Meeks, son of a football coach, which I know David Shaw loves. His dad, Ron, was the Colts defensive coordinator on their Super Bowl run a few years ago, Super Bowl 41.
All right, let's take a look at the road ahead for Stanford, sponsored by Coors Light. Whatever your mountain, climb on. As you take a look, they have a bye next week, then SC and UCLA back-to-back. SC playing Alabama week 1. We'll see what the Trojans are made of quickly.
And UCLA has a new coordinator, Kennedy Palamalu, who's been at USC for years. He's installed a new pro-style system. I think that's going to pay dividends for Josh Rosen. Washington is very good, a great young defense. Washington State, can throw it all over the yard. That's as tough as it comes in the first 6, no doubt about it. If they go 5-1, watch out. I think they go to the playoff.
They still have to go to Oregon and to Arizona if they start 5-1. Ertz on the move. And he'll pick up the first down as Burton makes the catch. A gain of 12.
It was really the story of 2 plays for Kansas State, the missed field goal and then the no call at the end of the half. It would have changed the entire complexion of the game. They would have had a lead before that. Never would have had to been in a situation where they had to try an onside kick.
First down and 10 to the 46. But you can see Ertz's confidence growing. Going through his progressions and incomplete. That one thrown a little bit high for Zuber.
I'll tell you what I'm hearing is around the Big 12 collectively, all the coaches going, oh boy, they're going to be good again this year.
Yes.
Because they're going to have to face this team who's methodical and tough and hard-nosed. No give up in them. This is a typical Bill Snyder team. Like I said before, Gus, and I'll reiterate it. I see 8 or 9 wins for this Kansas State team, maybe even more. I think they're a very quality team.
2nd and 10. Ertz again. Near side incomplete, but this is not the year, according to the Kansas State people. Next year is the year that Kansas State, they feel, will be very, very, very good.
Well, they're saying that because this is actually the youngest 2 deep that Bill Snyder has ever had at Kansas State in his 25 years. They've got 24 freshmen or sophomores in their 2 deep. Thus 17 of those freshmen or sophomores on their offense.
3rd down and 10 at the 46. Ertz to the far side and incomplete. And Dominique Heath took a hit. Elijah Holder lays him out. And Dominique will have a conversation with his quarterback later on this week.
And he should. And that's something that has really left the game of football as we've gotten towards forcing the defender to protect the defenseless receiver, and we don't force quarterbacks to protect receivers like we used to. When I cut my teeth, it was my responsibility to keep my wide receiver safe, not the defensive player's responsibility, and that's an unintended consequence of these targeting rules.
Here's Ertz again, and this time it's caught. Nicely done as Sutton makes the grab and picks up a first down.
Corey Sutton is a true freshman, and they are very high on him. You can see why. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, very tall, athletic. He graduated high school early, so he's actually been in Manhattan, Kansas the entire spring. They love his ability. You can see why on the last play.
A 28-yard gain.
I think David Shaw wants to have the officials take another look at that. This was right in front of Shaw as he's over on that Stanford side. Great coverage. Boy, tough to tell there. Alameen Murphy, number 23, was in coverage.
Ruling on the field was a completed pass. Stanford is challenging that it really was an incompleted pass.
So they will take another look at this, and by our looks, I didn't see anything that would overturn that, partner.
And you heard David Shaw say, I saw or I watched the ball move. And he's trying to explain it right now.
But remember what Mike Pereira said to us earlier. It's not about movement. It's really about control and possession as we bring in Mike Pereira from Los Angeles.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
And Mike, can you explain a little further the difference in movement and control?
Yeah, I mean, really what you're talking about, Joel, is, you're talking about, does the ball come out of his hands? Does he lose possession of it going to the ground? And I'll tell you, it's really close because you see the hand off of it kind of tucked between his legs, and between your legs is not considered control. So I'm actually extremely surprised that they confirmed that. And I almost think with both hands off the ball, it's more incomplete than it is complete.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. 1st and 10 at the 26. Here's Ertz looking, throwing in the end zone. Incomplete. Contact made. Pringle, the intended receiver. Holder has been all over him this evening.
He has, and he's had the benefit of an officiating crew that has allowed a bit of contact. You know, pass interference really gets to go to a sport you love is a lot like basketball, because sometimes they let them get away with contact, sometimes they don't. In my mind, that's pass interference. I would agree with you. Before the ball gets there, we saw Holder tackle Pringle in the end zone earlier. He's gotten away with a couple blatant ones in the end zone.
2nd and 10 at the 26. Ertz drops off a screen to Jones, and Jones wrapped up quickly. Nicely done defensively. Okereke with the tackle.
I mean, just those two plays, even if everything else being equal, those two plays, which are officials' decisions, how different does this ball game look?
Third down and 12 at the 28.
Was wondering, it is a Big 12 officiating crew on the field.
Low snap, handled by Ertz, and a flag.
Illegal snap, offense, center, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 54 seconds.
They get Reed Niver, number 67, the center, and you see him just rocking back before he snaps. That sudden movement is what triggered the flag.
Third down and 17. Jesse Ertz with time. Big throw. And incomplete. Intended for Corey Sutton again.
And again, contact before the ball arrived in the end zone.
And there's an injured Cardinal on the field.
There's a collision down there. That's looks like Alameen Murphy. He's the corner, and he's the one that makes contact a little bit. And then that's Dallas Lloyd, number 29, kind of the quarterback of the defense, senior safety from Utah. Here's the contact. Definitely makes contact before the ball's there, and then the collision as Lloyd enters the picture.
And Murphy on his feet. When you look at the Stanford roster, you see players from everywhere. Texas, Nebraska, Tennessee, Hawaii, Georgia, Idaho, Oregon, Ohio, California, North Carolina, Louisiana. 4th and 17. Jesse Ertz taking his time, surveying. Ertz spinning, Fran Tarkington-like, but this time he'll be sacked. Columbayi drags him down, 8th sack of the evening, and Stanford will win their season opener against Kansas State.
Columbayi, they're counting on him to have a big year. A Buckus Award watch list player. He's all Pac-12 preseason by several publications, and just an effort sack there as Bill Snyder has a teaching moment with his new quarterback, Jesse Ertz.
So Stanford in the victory formation as the Cardinal take a knee with 30 seconds to go. Coach Shaw pleased. He had an opportunity to see some very good things from his inexperienced quarterback. Ryan Burns did a very nice job. 16 straight home wins against non-conference opponents for Stanford. Burns 14 of 18, 156 yards and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey 22 carries, 126 and 2 TDs. Stanford defeats Kansas State.